It was late, and the cabin was silent. The light from the oil lamp barely lit the interior, while the wind rattled the branches against the wooden walls. Outside, the forest seemed immense, closed off, dark, with pines creaking and dry leaves piling up in the corners of the land. I sat by the window, staring at the clearing in front of the cabin, enjoying the quiet. Then I heard a noise that made me lean forward. Something heavy moving among the trees. It wasn't a common animal, not a deer, not a bear. The crackle of branches and dry leaves was irregular, as if someone were stumbling while running. Suddenly, between the trunks, I saw a small, thin figure with a head that was a mix between a dog and a human, elongated. It moved quickly but awkwardly, trying to escape something. Its breathing was audible from a distance, panting, mixed with the strong smell of wet earth and damp fur. Behind it, a much larger shadow advanced with heavy steps, broad shoulders, dark, dense fur that moved with every step. Bigfoot. You could tell by the way it moved that it was chasing that other thing for some reason. I pressed against the window frame, too afraid to move. The smaller figure ran at full speed, zigzagging between the trunks, trying to lose its pursuer. Each jump kicked up dry leaves and broken branches. The larger creature followed without running fully, but each stride seemed to crush everything in its path. The wind carried smells of churned earth and wet fur, mixed with a metallic scent I couldn't identify, making my jaw tighten. In seconds, both disappeared among the trees. The distance and the density of the forest hid them completely. Everything fell silent again, except for the occasional snap of branches settling in the wind. I didn't know what had happened, whether Bigfoot caught the other one, if they separated, if anyone was hurt. I could only imagine. I stayed there, sitting, heart racing, feeling powerless. There was nothing I could do. Only the certainty that I had seen something that doesn't belong in this world, a chase that left more questions than answers. I spent the rest of the night by the window, listening to the forest, trying to pick out any sound, any movement that might tell me what had happened. I never knew if Bigfoot caught the other creature or if they simply got lost in the darkness. That night, I realized that in these forests, forces act by their own rules, and as a human, the only thing you can do is watch and hope they don't see you. This happened many years ago. I was finishing my shift when I got a call that a camper hadn't returned. The last known location was near a little-used trail in southern Oregon. I headed out fast, truck loaded, flashlight and weapon ready, prepared for anything. I wasn't expecting anything strange, just to look for someone lost and scared. I reached the area and started searching on foot. The forest seemed normal. As I moved forward, I noticed something on the ground that made me stop. In some bushes, there was a body. I shined my flashlight and saw the camper, dead, lying in the brush, clothes torn, dried blood on his face and chest. There were no signs of a long struggle, but it was clear he had been attacked. My stomach tightened. I took a step back and scanned the area with my flashlight. That's when I saw it. In front of the camper, on the ground, there was another body, bigger, more muscular, dark fur, legs bent backward. Whatever it was, it seemed young, or at least smaller than a full-grown one, because it wasn't much larger than the camper, but it was dead. Fangs and claws were visible. Its face had marks of heavy blows, open wounds. I understood instantly what had happened. Bigfoot had been here. It wasn't the first time I'd seen him in these parts. I won't say I ever got used to his presence, but in all my years, he never harmed me. Then I saw him. Between the trees, not far from the clearing, a massive silhouette. Bigfoot was standing there, looking at the body of that younger creature. He didn't seem angry, but the tension in his posture was unmistakable. Then he made a slow movement. He crouched down and grabbed it by the torso and legs, lifting it without any effort. Then he walked into the forest, carrying the body as if it weighed nothing. I watched every step, frozen. His fur moved as branches brushed against him, and the creature disappeared between the trunks. He didn't turn his head, he didn't look at me, he made no sound. He simply vanished with the body. I stood there, breathing hard, looking at the dead camper and then at the place where Bigfoot had disappeared. The adrenaline wouldn't let me move, scream, or even think clearly. There was no way to explain what I had just seen: a dead camper, a mythical creature, and an unseen confrontation that ended with the death of another being. Bigfoot didn't attack me, but the strength he had shown made it clear I wouldn't stand a chance against him. I took mental note of everything and slowly backed away from the clearing. I didn't make any calls yet. No one would believe it without evidence. Not even I could fully believe it. The only real things were the body on the ground and the silhouette disappearing into the trees. I contacted the station and told a more coherent version, something that wouldn't make me sound insane. A wild animal attack, possibly a bear, a poor camper in the wrong place at the wrong time. I never went back to that area alone, and I never again believed that anyone could truly be safe in that forest. What I saw that night changed me. I don't see Bigfoot as a hero, but whatever it was that he took away is better off dead than roaming those woods and attacking other campers. I was on patrol in a forested area of southern Oregon, a place where almost no one goes anymore and the trails are already half swallowed by the woods. I had stopped the truck to check an old fence when I heard a strange noise behind the trees. At first, I thought it was just some normal animal from the forest, but the sound wasn't normal. It was heavy, irregular breathing, like something forcing air through its throat. I aimed my flashlight and saw movement between the trunks. It was tall, very tall, with legs bent backward like a large dog, but its torso was upright, almost human. It had long, stiff arms, an elongated head with a long snout, and sunken eyes that reflected the light without any shine. Its skin looked dark, with patches where there was no fur. It didn't move like a normal animal. It walked slowly, like it knew exactly where it was going. When it growled, I felt the sound in my chest, and it started coming closer. I tried to step back, but my body didn't respond right, and my head wasn't thinking clearly. That thing kept advancing without any rush, with a calm that was more terrifying than if it had charged. Every step froze me in place. Then it suddenly accelerated. I fell backward and hit the ground. I felt the air move as it passed over me and heard the snap of its teeth. The growl was right over my face. The smell was strong, wet, rotten. I raised my arm on instinct and felt the impact against my forearm, the pressure of its jaw, its fangs scraping my clothes. It didn't bite me fully, but it slammed me into the ground and knocked the air out of me. It was on top of me, moving its head like it was searching for my neck. I was just kicking and trying to push it away, not even knowing what I was doing. I felt like any second it would grab my throat and everything would be over. Then something hit it. Its body flew off me and rolled across the ground. I heard it smash into a tree trunk and a different growl, higher pitched, desperate. I opened my eyes and saw something much bigger than I could have imagined. Wide, heavy, covered in dark hair, long, thick arms. It was completely different from the dog-like creature. You didn't have to be smart to know what it was. A real Bigfoot, the first and only one I've ever seen in my life. I can't explain what it feels like to see something like that in front of you. Suddenly they were pushing each other, hitting each other, crashing into trees. Bigfoot grabbed it by the neck and slammed it against a trunk. The other thing drove its claws into Bigfoot's chest and tried to bite its face. Bigfoot smashed it in the head with his forearm and threw it to the ground. The sounds were brutal, bone against wood, bodies colliding, growls and violent breathing. The large dog man stood up again and lunged. Bigfoot grabbed its arm and twisted it with brutal force. There was a loud crack, and it screamed in a way that sounded disturbingly human, sending chills through my whole body. Bigfoot shoved it with his entire body and slammed it into the ground. That thing writhed, kicked, tried to bite, but it had lost control. Bigfoot suddenly let go and stepped back. It got up as best it could, looked back once, and ran into the forest. Bigfoot didn't chase it. It stayed there, breathing hard, its chest rising and falling fast. Then it looked at me. There was no expression on its face. I, on the other hand, was crying from fear and adrenaline. It turned around and walked away between the trees. I stayed on the ground, unable to move, my body shaking, out of breath, not knowing how much time had passed. I never made a report about it, and it makes sense because it sounds like a fairy tale and people would just laugh at me or worse. What I do know is this: if Bigfoot hadn't appeared, I wouldn't have made it alive.